Look at this repair bill, $14,000 for a transmission replacement on a car that's only 3 years old. The owner bought this beautiful European sedan thinking they were getting luxury and reliability. Instead, they got financial devastation. But here's the shocking part. This isn't even the worst story I'm going to share with you today. What I discovered about certain European cars will make this $14,000 nightmare look like pocket change. I'm talking about vehicles so problematic that they can literally bankrupt their owners, and the manufacturers know it. The car that takes the top spot, you won't believe what happened to its owners. That $14,000 transmission failure belongs to Sarah from Michigan, who bought a 2021 European luxury sedan with just 28,000 miles on it. The dealer assured her it was German engineering at its finest. 3 months later, she was staring at a repair bill that exceeded her annual car payment budget. The transmission had completely failed, and the warranty didn't cover it because of a software modification she never authorized. But Sarah's story is just the beginning. Over the past 6 months, I've documented horror stories from European car owners across the country. People who thought they were buying prestige and reliability, but instead got financial nightmares that destroyed their credit, ruined their daily commutes, and left them questioning everything they thought they knew about automotive quality. These aren't isolated incidents or bad luck. These are systematic problems with specific European models that look absolutely stunning in showrooms, but hide engineering disasters underneath their beautiful exteriors. From luxury sedans that cost more to maintain than most people's mortgages, to economy cars that aren't economical at all, to SUVs that can't handle basic daily driving. The worst part? Most buyers have no idea until it's too late. Let's start with the seemingly harmless Fiat 500L, a compact, stylish family car with Italian flair and a $22,500 price tag. Sounds like a steal, until reality hits. David from Phoenix bought a 2020 model thinking it was the perfect blend of Euro design and practicality. Within a year, his 500L suffered 3 complete transmission failures. Not minor repairs, full replacements. One failure happened while his wife drove their newborn home from the hospital. The transmission would just slip into neutral randomly, he said. The dealership blamed parts delays from Italy. Total repair cost? Over $8,000, on a car worth $12,000. And that was just the start. Cracking dashboards, pilling seat fabric, glitchy infotainment, all within the first year. Consumer Reports ranks it among the least reliable cars ever, with owners averaging 4+ major issues annually. Meanwhile, David's neighbor's Honda Civic, same price, same year, ran perfectly. But if the Fiat was unreliable, the Renault Twingo is flat out unfit for US roads. Never officially sold here, it's been gray imported by curious buyers wanting something unique. What they get is a toy-like car with just 90 horsepower, dangerous at highway speeds, and a nightmare to repair. Jake from California imported a 2019 Twingo and paid the price, literally. At 15,000 miles, a misfire triggered a 4-month ordeal, tracking parts across continents, shipping an engine control module to France, and spending $3,200 on a single repair. Meanwhile, the car sat dead in his driveway while he paid for a rental. Basic maintenance? Also painful. Special European oil, rare-sized brake pads, and mechanics who refuse to touch it. And resale? Forget it. With no parts support in the US, the Twingo's value plummeted to near zero. Both the 500L and Twingo lure buyers with Euro charm and affordable pricing. But behind the styling lies a trap. Fragile engineering, insane repair costs, and zero peace of mind. And if these budget disasters are this bad, just wait until you see what happens when Europe tries to build luxury cars. The Land Rover Discovery Sport promised the ultimate family adventure vehicle, legendary Land Rover capability combined with modern luxury and reliability. The marketing showed families conquering mountain trails and beach excursions, living their best outdoor lives. What it actually delivered was a vehicle so unreliable that many owners joke the check engine light should be considered a standard feature. Tom from Colorado bought his 2024 Discovery Sport specifically for his family's outdoor lifestyle. As an avid skier and mountain biker, he He needed something that could handle Colorado's challenging terrain while providing luxury for his wife and two young children. The $48,900 price tag seemed reasonable for a vehicle that promised uncompromising capability with refined comfort. The problem started before the first oil change. At just 3,000 miles, the Discovery Sports engine management system began throwing random error codes. The dashboard would light up like a Christmas tree. Engine warning, transmission fault, stability control malfunction, all simultaneously. The Land Rover dealer kept the vehicle for 5 days, claiming they needed to communicate with Land Rover UK to diagnose the issues. They kept telling me it was normal for Land Rover's advanced systems to need calibration, Tom explained. But this wasn't calibration. This was complete system failure. The car would go into limp mode randomly, sometimes while we were driving through mountain passes with no cell service. The second major failure occurred at 8,000 miles during a camping trip. The transmission began exhibiting violent shuddering during shifts, followed by complete loss of power. Tom found himself stranded on a remote Colorado highway with his family, watching other vehicles pass while his $50,000 adventure vehicle refused to move. The towing and repair process revealed the Discovery Sports' fundamental design flaws. The 9-speed automatic transmission, shared with several other problematic vehicles, was known for overheating and software conflicts. The repair required a complete transmission replacement, but Land Rover's parts distribution was so poor that Tom waited 6 weeks for components. During those 6 weeks, Land Rover provided a rental car, a basic economy sedan, Tom said. So much for family adventures. We missed 2 camping trips and a ski weekend because our adventure vehicle was more comfortable in the service bay than on the trail. The electrical problems multiplied over time. The infotainment system would randomly reboot, losing navigation data mid-route. The climate control developed a mind of its own, switching between maximum heat and maximum cooling without input. Most frustratingly, the advanced terrain management system, one of the Discovery Sports' key selling points, would engage randomly on smooth highways, creating jarring shifts and reduce fuel economy. By 15,000 miles, Tom's Discovery Sport had visited the service department 8 times for warranty repairs. The service advisors knew him by name, and he'd become familiar with every magazine in their waiting room. I was spending more time at the Land Rover dealer than at my actual job, he joked, though the frustration was clearly genuine. The final straw came during a winter ski trip, when the Discovery Sports heating system failed completely in sub-zero temperatures. With his children in the car, Tom had to drive 2 hours with no heat, using blankets to keep his family warm. The dealer's explanation? A software conflict between the climate control and the vehicle's intelligent energy management system. That's when I realized this wasn't a family adventure vehicle. It was a family safety hazard, Tom said. No amount of off-road capability matters if you can't trust the car to get your kids home safely. But at least the Discovery Sport attempts to be a serious SUV. The Mini Cooper Countryman represents something even more frustrating. A vehicle that promises SUV capability while delivering neither the reliability of a Mini nor the practicality of a real SUV. Lisa from Texas bought her 2019 Countryman, thinking she was getting the best of both worlds. Mini's fun-to-drive character in a practical SUV package. The $32,950 price seemed reasonable for a premium compact SUV, and the dealer emphasized Mini's go-kart handling and German engineering heritage. The reality was immediately disappointing. Despite being called an SUV, the Countryman's interior was cramped and uncomfortable. Lisa, who stands 5 feet 8 inches, found the front seats too narrow and the driving position awkward. The rear seats were essentially unusable for adult passengers, with just 37 inches of legroom, less than many compact cars. They called it an SUV, but it had less space than my previous Honda Civic, Lisa explained. The cargo area was tiny, and with the rear seats up, I couldn't fit a week's worth of groceries. The mechanical problems started early and escalated quickly. The turbocharged 4-cylinder engine developed oil leaks at 12,000 miles, requiring replacement of multiple seals and gaskets. The repair took 3 weeks because Mini's parts distribution network couldn't keep common wear items in stock. The transmission issues were even more problematic. The Countryman's dual-clutch automatic would exhibit harsh shifts, delayed engagement, and occasional complete loss of power. Mini's solution was a series of software updates that never fully resolved the underlying problems. Every software update would fix one problem but create two new ones, Lisa said. The transmission would shift smoothly for a few weeks, then develop new quirks that were somehow worse than the original issues. The suspension system proved equally problematic. The Countryman's sport-tuned setup, designed to provide go-kart handling, was punishingly harsh on normal roads. Every pothole and expansion joint transmitted directly into the cabin, making daily driving uncomfortable and long trips unbearable. The financial impact was devastating. Lisa's Countryman required over $4,000 in repairs during its first 2 years, including 2 transmission services, multiple oil leak repairs, and suspension component replacements. The warranty covered parts but not labor, and Mini's labor rates were comparable to luxury German brands. I was paying BMW prices to maintain what was essentially a dressed-up economy car, Lisa explained. The Countryman had all the maintenance costs of a luxury vehicle with none of the refinement or reliability. The depreciation was equally brutal. Lisa's $33,000 Countryman was worth just $18,000 after 3 years, representing a loss of $5,000 per year before considering repair costs. These SUV disasters share a common theme. They promise adventure and practicality, but deliver unreliability and frustration. The Discovery Sport and Countryman prove that European SUV engineering often prioritizes complexity over dependability, leaving families stranded when they need reliability most. But surely German engineering represents the pinnacle of automotive reliability, right? Unfortunately, that's where some of the most expensive disasters hide. German engineering has become synonymous with precision, reliability, and automotive excellence. But when German manufacturers over-engineer their flagship vehicles with complex systems designed to impress rather than endure, the results can be financially catastrophic. The BMW 7 Series and Audi A8 represent the dark side of German ambition. Cars so complex that they become maintenance nightmares that can bankrupt even wealthy owners. Robert from New York thought he was making a smart purchase when he bought a 2015 BMW 750 Li with 45,000 miles for $35,000. The original MSRP was over $95,000, making it seem like an incredible deal on ultimate luxury. The twin-turbo V8 engine promised effortless power, while BMW's advanced technology suite offered features that seemed futuristic even by today's standards. I figured I was getting a $100,000 car for a third of the price, Robert explained. The dealer assured me that BMWs are built to last, and with only 45,000 miles, it seemed like I was buying someone else's depreciation, not their problems. The first reality check came during the pre-purchase inspection. The BMW technician presented Robert with a list of recommended services, totaling $3,200. This included replacing the high-pressure fuel pumps, a known failure point on BMW's twin-turbo engines, along with various seals, gaskets, and electronic modules that were approaching end-of-service life. They made it sound routine, Robert said, like changing the oil on a normal car. I didn't realize I was looking at the tip of an iceberg that would sink my finances. The fuel pump replacement alone cost $2,400, requiring specialized BMW diagnostic equipment and programming that only authorized dealers could perform. The pumps themselves cost $800 each, but the labor involved removing the rear seats, fuel tank, and various electronic modules to access them. 6 months later, the real nightmare began. The 7 Series advanced air suspension system started exhibiting erratic behavior. The car would randomly lower itself overnight, creating a grinding noise when started. Sometimes it would raise one corner higher than the others, giving the vehicle a tilted appearance that made Robert embarrassed to drive it. The BMW dealer diagnosed multiple air suspension components as failed, including the compressor, height sensors, and control module. The repair estimate was staggering, $8,400 for parts and labor. The air suspension compressor alone cost $2,200, while each height sensor was $450. The control module required programming that added another $600 to the bill. At that point, I realized I hadn't bought a luxury car. I'd bought a very expensive hobby, Robert said. The monthly repair costs were higher than most people's car payments. But the air suspension was just the beginning. The 7 Series iDrive system began malfunctioning, displaying error messages in German and occasionally rebooting while driving. The navigation would lose GPS signal randomly, the climate control would switch to maximum heat without warning, and the premium sound system would emit static bursts that were genuinely startling. Each electronic issue required separate diagnosis and repair. The iDrive control module cost $1,800 to replace. The GPS antenna was $650. The climate control module was $1,200. Every repair required BMW's proprietary diagnostic equipment and software, making independent repair virtually impossible. I started keeping a spreadsheet of repair costs, Robert explained. In 2 years of ownership, I spent $18,000 on repairs, more than half what I paid for the car. And that was just to keep it running, not to improve anything. The final insult came when Robert tried to sell the 7 Series. Despite his extensive repair records and recent maintenance, dealers offered him just $12,000 for a car he'd purchased for $35,000 and invested $18,000 in repairs. The market had learned what Robert discovered too late. Used German luxury cars are financial disasters waiting to happen. But BMW's complexity pales in comparison to Audi's flagship A8, which represents perhaps the most over-engineered vehicle ever produced. The early 2010s, A8 combined cutting-edge technology with German ambition, creating a vehicle so complex that even Audi dealers struggled to maintain it properly. Patricia from California experienced this firsthand when she bought a 2012 A8L with 38,000 miles for $28,000. The original owner had paid over $85,000 for the vehicle, and Patricia thought she was getting incredible value for Audi's flagship luxury sedan. The A8's problems started with its signature feature, the advanced air suspension system that promised magic carpet ride quality. At 42,000 miles, the system began exhibiting erratic behavior, randomly adjusting ride height and creating harsh impacts over bumps. The Audi dealer's diagnosis was comprehensive and expensive. The air suspension system required replacement of all 4 air springs, $450 each. The compressor, $20,200. Multiple height sensors, $380 each, and the control module, $1,600. The total repair estimate was $9,800, not including the additional problems they discovered during disassembly. They found that the air suspension failure had damaged other components, Patricia explained. The electronic damper control modules were also failing, adding another $3,200 to the repair bill. Suddenly, I was looking at $13,000 in repairs on a car worth $25,000. The electronic complexity extended throughout the vehicle. The A8's MMI infotainment system would randomly freeze, requiring a complete system reset that could only be performed by Audi technicians. The advanced driver assistance features would malfunction without warning, creating dangerous situations where the car would brake unexpectedly, or the steering would resist driver input. Each electronic system required separate diagnosis and repair. The MMI control unit cost $2,400 to replace. The driver assistance camera module was $1,800. The electronic steering control unit was $2,200. Every repair required Audi's proprietary software and programming, making the car completely dependent on dealer service. I realized I hadn't bought a car. I'd bought a subscription to Audi's service department, Patricia said. Every month brought a new electronic failure and another multi-thousand-dollar repair bill. The depreciation was equally devastating. Patricia's A8, purchased for $28,000, was worth just $8,000 after 3 years of ownership and over $20,000 in repairs. The combination of known reliability issues and extreme complexity had made the car virtually worthless in the used market. These German luxury disasters prove that engineering complexity doesn't equal engineering excellence. When manufacturers prioritize impressive feature lists over long-term reliability, they create vehicles that impress in showrooms but devastate owners' finances. The 7 Series and A8 represent the ultimate expression of this philosophy. Cars so advanced that they're too complex to be reliable. But if German luxury cars can be financial disasters, surely European economy cars offer better value, right? Unfortunately, that's where some of the most deceptive traps await unsuspecting buyers. The Smart 4.2 promised the ultimate urban solution. A car so small it could park anywhere, so efficient it barely used fuel, and so affordable that city living became economical. What it actually delivered was a vehicle so compromised that it was genuinely dangerous on American highways, and so poorly built that economical became the most expensive lie in automotive history. Mark from Seattle bought his 2020 Smart 4.2 thinking he'd found the perfect city car. At $14,500, it seemed like an incredible deal for European engineering and Mercedes-Benz backing. The reality hit during his first highway drive. The tiny car was terrifying at freeway speeds, buffeted by wind from passing trucks and struggling to maintain speed on even modest inclines. Merging onto I-5 was like playing Russian roulette, Mark explained. The car had no power, no stability, and other drivers couldn't see it. I genuinely feared for my life every time I had to drive on the highway. The mechanical problems were equally severe. The automated manual transmission would jerk violently between gears, creating a driving experience Mark described as like being rear-ended every time you accelerate. The suspension was so harsh that Seattle's pothole-riddled streets made every drive uncomfortable. But the real disaster was the Volkswagen Phaeton, VW's attempt to build a Bentley-quality luxury sedan with Volkswagen pricing. The result was a car with Bentley maintenance costs that VW dealers couldn't properly service, creating the perfect storm of luxury complexity with economy car support. James from Florida bought a 2004 Phaeton for $8,000, thinking he'd discovered the ultimate luxury bargain. Within 6 months, he'd spent $12,000 on repairs that VW dealers struggled to diagnose properly. The air suspension failed, the W12 engine developed mysterious misfires, and the advanced electronics began malfunctioning in ways that baffled technicians. VW dealers had no idea how to work on it, James said. They'd keep it for weeks, make expensive guesses, and send me bills for repairs that didn't fix anything. It was a Bentley disguised as a Volkswagen, but with none of the support infrastructure. These aren't isolated horror stories. They represent a pattern of European automotive deception that costs American consumers billions annually. From the Fiat 500L's transmission disasters to the Maserati Ghibli's Chrysler Masquerade, from Land Rover's unreliable adventure vehicles to BMW's maintenance nightmares, these cars prove that beautiful design and prestigious badges don't guarantee reliable ownership experiences. The common thread? Complex systems without proper support infrastructure, premium pricing without premium reliability, and marketing promises that reality can't deliver. Whether it's a $22,000 economy car or a $90,000 luxury sedan, these European disasters share the same DNA. They prioritize showroom appeal over long-term dependability. Before buying any European car, research parts availability, calculate total ownership costs, and read long-term owner reviews, not just automotive journalist opinions. Remember, the most expensive car you can buy is a cheap luxury car, and the most economical car is one that doesn't break. The beautiful European car in the showroom might promise sophistication and prestige, but as these 15 examples prove, sometimes that promise comes with a price tag that extends far beyond the purchase price. Have you owned any of these European disasters? Share your horror story in the comments. The worst one will be featured in my next video.